Hey Rinske, this is David, and I'm excited to create this video for you after taking a look at your site. But first things first, your work is lovely. The school, the stuff, the daycare stuff, it's very great work. So I just want to shout you out for having a awesome business and really doing some awesome work. It strikes me that the kids look like themselves, and I think that's a hard thing to capture. So well done. It was very cool to look at the work. And there's just a few things that we can do to make the internet show people what I'm looking at right now. There's a few twists and turns that we can take to really unite what you're already doing. So I'm going to come over here to my screen and just dive right in. Right. So first things first, you have two sites. You have websites. The first is this Dutch school focused website. Right, I'm going to translate this into English just so I can have a bit more context. But who is this talking to? This is talking to school administrators or potentially parents that want to get school photos of their kids. And it's very clear who you're talking to. I think this is very well done. The other one you have is a portfolio in English on Pixpa. And the first fix I'd recommend is pick one, right? You can pick either this site or this site to really use as your primary where you drive traffic to. Right now it splits your focus and also your visitors focus, your users focus. So I imagine you probably have two different systems on the back end that are collecting different information and requests and all these different things. And I think about this in terms of surfaces, right? What do we look at? Different websites, domains, or just different things to maintain. The fewer surfaces, the better. There is one thing that you can do very easily, which we already spoke about on email a bit. And the first is looking at the domains, right? You have your name.pixpa.com versus over here, it's just your name. So that's one way, one tell that it's a bit further away from you is the domain. And something you can do, I did some research on Pixpa, and based on what we were emailing about, is you can connect a custom domain to Pixpa. So what that means is that you can change some of the records here to make it so that you could have something like portfolio.com, right? That could be this site's domain rather than .pixpa.com. It could be portfolio.yourdomain.com. And that's a pretty easy thing to do, just configuring the settings. You don't need to do a big migration. You don't need to change where any content is. And that's a very high value branding move. So even if it's you don't and you keep these two sites separate, you could have two surfaces on that same site where, let's say there's a button here that says photos, that could go to the portfolio page that could be hosted here. Again, just trying to bring these things together a bit. And then you're instantly it brings up the professionalism a bit where it's kind of you own your house rather than renting a room. And it helps Google trust you more too with just putting more on that domain. And I'll come back to that in a little bit. In terms of the actual, if I go to the portfolio page, it's the opposite, right? I don't know from this first glance where I'm supposed to go. So am I supposed to go to work, personal project, school, corporate? Like clearly this is a portfolio, but there's no home page call to action. And I don't know how Pixpa is built either. Like that, it could be literally just a portfolio. But what would be nice would be to have a header section call out here saying, hey, this is my work. if you're interested in working with me, here's where you can book a consultation without having to go into the about or contact, I guess, is where you'd want people to go, right, to fill this out. Submit. And there's also 2 calls to action here, right? You have filling out the form and submit. That probably gets an email, or I can schedule a meeting. This is really what we want, right? We want meetings. This is wonderful. That should be front and center on everything. Doesn't matter if it's here, right? Because this is a different contact page and it looks like the same thing. So this is awesome. Getting this Calendly in front of everybody as easily as possible. That's where you're trying to funnel people to. Okay, and let's talk about SEO a bit. So you have a lot of photos on your site. And the best SEO action to take for photos is adding some sort of a text label to it. And this can be a visual label, right? Like we could literally put a description under the photo of what it is. Or it can be what's called alt text, alternative text. So this is something that you'll see in this HTML on the side. You've already done it, right? Alt equals smiling young girl with long brown hair in 2 different settings and outfits. Great. That was done for that image, which is the most important image on the page because it's the first thing that loads. So that's dope. Then I go down here and I do the same thing, and there's no alt on this one, right? Because maybe it's because it's coming from an iStream, or I don't know how this is built, so I don't know what's possible. But you're not getting any alt text on those. You're just getting this gallery rendered object. And the more alt text you can have on the more images, the better, all the way through. Even on these things, right? Oops. On these labels, which it looks like you've got, you have some alt text there. So again, anytime you see an image or a logo, whatever it is, it deserves some alt text. Where we want to be is local and niche, right? So you can own school photography Rotterdam. You can own that entire search term pretty easily compared to some of the other search terms that are out there. And in order to do that, really focusing on the place as well. You focus on the photography well, but I think putting some more context and content about Rotterdam in general would help you out. So we have school. Again, school is very well represented, but you don't have and this is something that's kind of hard to think about because our own context is so based in the place where we are. So really think about your location and what's unique about what you have to do in your location. Like, for example, where I'm in California, we have very different climates. So I know you have some of the different tips, right? Tips in clothing and all these different things. Maybe it's windy, or different things are better, different places, right? So what's unique about taking photos where you are compared to where I am or where somebody else would be? That will help you prove your authority in that place. And if you focus the content more on what do people want or need, what kind of questions are you always asked? I think I saw an FAQ somewhere. Just try to get it all in one place so it's an easy resource hub to access. That'll go a long way for the SEO too. Focusing on making the website good for humans also makes it good for computers. If this were mine, what I would do first and foremost is collapse the 2 sources of information, right? Get it onto one, whether it's Pixpa or whether it's the school photography site, your own site, whatever it is, just pick one and really lean into it and transfer everything over. That way there's one contact place, there's one thing on a business card, we're not linking back and forth. It's just very straightforward. That way Google's also building on you and helping you out, build your SEO. Everything you put on there continues to grow over time and is working for you, not against you. Like every additional thing you put on there. You don't have to put it in 2 places. And again, the finishing move is just to have a easy way to book you. Direct contact, book now, right? Make it a different color, make it big, make it stand out. Because this is great. This is where we want people to end up. We want people to end up in a place where they know that you do great work and they just book that meeting. Because again, that's where the conversation starts, and you can continue to show them more. So really just getting them to book is the key.